Over the skies of Venezuela, something unexpected happened. Four F-16 Fighting Falcons, aging, but still fierce, cut across the clouds above Maracay. Engines roaring. Formation tight. A show of precision that few expected to see again. The timing? Not random. Just one day earlier, two U.S. Air Force B-52H Stratofortress bombers had flown off the Venezuelan coast. Coincidence, or a message? In recent hours, footage began spreading across defense monitoring channels and social media platforms. The clips showed four Venezuelan F-16s slicing through the skies above Maracay, a rare sight that quickly captured global attention. And with it came an old question once again. How many of these American-made jets does Venezuela still have, and how are they still flying under a U.S. embargo? To understand the meaning of these four fighters, we must go back 4 decades. In 1982, Venezuela made history. Under a deal called the Peace Delta Program, it became the first Latin American nation to acquire the U.S. F-16 Fighting Falcon. 24 jets, Block 15 variants, were delivered to the Venezuelan Air Force. Back then, Caracas and Washington were allies. And these jets weren't just weapons. They were symbols, of status, of technology, of trust. For years, Venezuela's F-16s represented cutting-edge air power in South America. They dominated regional skies, flying joint exercises and defending national airspace with American-trained pilots. But politics, as always, changed everything. By the early 2000s, relations between Washington and Caracas had soured. The United States imposed an arms embargo. No new parts. No technical support. No upgrades. The once proud F-16 fleet began to decay. Engines wore out. Radar systems failed. And without authorized spares, even basic maintenance became a challenge. Yet, somehow, against all odds, Venezuela kept them flying. Analysts estimate that out of the original 24 aircraft, only 4 to 7 remain operational today. Their survival is almost miraculous. Rumors suggest spare parts were sourced through black market channels, or even reverse-engineered locally. For the Bolivarian Air Force, this isn't just maintenance. It's defiance. Keeping these jets alive is a political statement, a symbol that Venezuela's Air Force hasn't been grounded by sanctions. The F-16 Fighting Falcon itself is a legend of aviation. Designed for agility and speed, it can reach Mach 2, or about 1,500 miles per hour. It climbs to 50,000 feet in just over a minute. But Venezuela's Block 15 models are veterans of another era, equipped with Cold War avionics and older weapon systems. Their radars, missiles, and navigation suites lag decades behind the world's modern stealth fighters. Compared to today's F-35 Lightning II, the Venezuelan F-16 is a museum piece. The F-35 stealth and sensor fusion let it see without being seen, an invisible hunter in the sky. The Venezuelan F-16s. They depend on visual contact and dated radar. So why fly them now? Because sometimes, power isn't about capability, it's about visibility. When those 4 F-16s took to the skies above Maracay, they weren't preparing for battle. They were reminding the world, and the United States, that Venezuela still has wings. Each flight is a message. Each roar of those old engines says, we're still here. On the other side of the Caribbean, the message from the U.S. is louder, literally. The B-52H Stratofortress, a symbol of American global reach, can carry 31 tons of weapons, cruise missiles, bombs, or even nuclear payloads. 2 of these giants flying near Venezuelan airspace wasn't random. It was a show of surveillance. A quiet signal of who dominates the skies. In recent months, the U.S. has increased its military presence in the Caribbean. B-1 Lancers, F-35 stealth fighters in Puerto Rico, naval groups rotating through the region. Each one a reminder that America's reach extends across the hemisphere. For Venezuela, flying its 4 remaining F-16s isn't about challenging that power. It's about proving resilience, standing tall under pressure. This isn't a story of equals. It's a story of contrasts, between vintage steel and modern stealth, between old alliances and new rivalries. And yet, in that contrast lies symbolism. In a world dominated by fifth-generation fighters and drone warfare, the sight of 4 aging Falcons still cutting across the Venezuelan sky speaks of defiance, national pride, and survival. They may be old. They may be outnumbered. But for Venezuela, these F-16s are more than machines. They're a statement. Because sometimes, just taking flight is the message. This is global state. Unseen battles, untold strategies, and the stories that shape our world above the clouds.